Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at a really interesting cognitive tool, Mel Robbins' The Let Them theory. It's basically pitched as a way to, drastically cut down the mental energy you spend worrying about other people, which is
a lot. Right? It really is. Our mission today is to kind of break this theory down, see how it works psychologically, how it makes you shift your focus back to what you actually control, managing stress, maybe fixing relationships. And it's important to remember where this came from. It wasn't like a moment of zen. She was $800,000 in debt, unemployed, and really relying on avoidance. Hitting the snooze button, alcohol, classic stuff when you're overwhelmed.
Yeah, and we can't really jump into managing external stuff without touching on the internal piece first. That means going back to her foundation, the 5-second rule, which, okay, it sounds almost too simple, right? That 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown. But the idea is it interrupts that part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, that floods you with doubt. It sort of forces action, like launching a rocket, as she puts it.
Exactly. That's the key link. The 5-second rule is for pushing through your own resistance, getting yourself moving. But she found that even if you master that, you can still lose so much happiness just obsessing over what other people are doing or saying or thinking. And that's the problem the let them theory is designed to solve.
Okay, right. So let's unpack let them. It's essentially what? A mental shortcut, just those two words, let them. And that's supposed to free you from trying to micromanage everyone else's opinions, their drama, their choices.
Pretty much. And what's interesting is how it echoes older ideas, ancient philosophy even. Let them taps right into that stoic idea of control. What's yours and what isn't. Their opinions, their drama, their schedule, almost all of that external stuff. It's outside your control. It also has hints of radical acceptance, just accepting what is.
But doesn't let them sound a bit, cold, maybe passive aggressive? Like, how do you make sure you're not just using it to duck difficult conversations or, frankly, be a bad friend?
That's a fair point. And the key is that radical acceptance isn't about approving. It's not saying, oh, it's good that they're late. It's just accepting the reality of the situation right now. That person is going to be late. That person is going to judge you. That's what's happening. When you stop fighting that reality, you stop wasting energy resisting. And that frees you up for your response.
Okay, I get that. And the story of how she actually landed on this phrase is kind of perfect. Really relatable. It was this high-stress high school prom situation involving her son. She's trying to manage all the last-minute plans for him and his friends, and they decided, total last minute, to ditch the nice dinner plans and pile into this tiny taco place, Amigos Taqueria, in a downpour, no reservation, before prom.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you can picture the stress. Trying to sort out reservations, keep 20 kids in fancy clothes dry. Nightmare fuel. And the breakthrough came when her daughter just grabbed her arm and said, Mom, let them get soaked. Just like that. Instant release.
Yeah.
So this big theory came from a prom night taco crisis.
Yeah,
tragically relatable is the word.
Exactly. But here's where it gets a bit more nuanced, because just stopping at let them isn't the whole picture. That's apparently a common mistake. The source material warns that if you only use it to push people away, you can end up feeling isolated, maybe a bit smug or superior.
Right. That's crucial.
Yeah.
Because let them is only half the equation. The second part, the let me part, that's the real power move. That's where you bring in radical self-accountability. You set your own boundaries. You stop blaming other people for how you feel, and you take responsibility for what you do next. Your attitude, your actions, what you want. Your power is all in your response, not in trying to control them. It brings the balance back.
Okay, let's make that practical. So say a colleague gives you some harsh feedback. You think, okay, let them think my work was mediocre. Fine. But then the pivot is crucial. Let me sit down and figure out 3 concrete things I can improve for next time. Or friends go on a trip, don't invite you. First thought, okay, let them go. Hurtful maybe, but let them. But then comes the let me be honest with myself. Have I actually been putting effort into these friendships lately? Or maybe let me call up 3 other people and plan something fun myself this weekend. It's about taking action on your end.
Precisely. So if you connect the dots, the 5-second rule helps you overcome your internal blocks, like procrastination or fear. And the let them theory protects you from those external energy, drains the drama, the judgment, trying to control others. Put them together and you've got a more complete system for, self-governance.
So wrapping this up, the final thought for you listening is this. Think about it. Your adult life, your health, your happiness, your social connections, ultimately that's your responsibility, right? So how much of your precious energy are you currently wasting trying to control things or people you simply can't? And maybe more importantly, what one thing, now that you're aware of this, will you choose to focus your energy on instead? What action will you take next?
By the way, if you'd like to dive deeper and really make this book part of your journey, I left a safe link below where you can get your physical copy. Having it in your hands makes all the difference.
Today, we're really focusing in on something huge, chronic stress.
Yeah.
It's kind of a silent saboteur, right? Our mission today is to look at how stress actually hijacks your brain, your thinking, and then give you something practical.
A tool.
Exactly.
A tool.
Bill called the let them theory.
Yeah.
It draws on work from people like Dr. Aditi Nirokar, a Harvard physician.
And it's so important because stress isn't just, feeling a bit frazzled. It's a physiological thing.
Right.
It actively messes with your brain's higher functions. We're talking focus, decision-making, even patience. It just goes out the window.
So if you feel stuck, maybe procrastinating or doubting yourself,
Yeah.
that could actually be the stress hijack.
Very likely. Your brain's literally been rerouted.
Okay, so let's get into that hijack. What's actually happening?
Yeah.
Where does control shift?
Okay, so normally your prefrontal cortex, the PFC, is in charge. That's your CEO, right?
Yeah.
Planning, reasoning, focus.
The logical part.
Exactly. But the second you feel stressed or perceive a threat, control flips instantly
Where?
to the amygdala. It's this deep almond-shaped bit, sometimes called the reptilian brain.
The survival center.
Bingo. Pure survival. Fight, flight, or freeze. That's its only job, really.
And the scary part is, we heard this statistic, something like 7 out of 10 people are living in chronic stress right now.
Which means for most people, that amygdala isn't just activating occasionally, it's constantly humming.
Constantly on edge.
Yeah, your brain is basically locked in survival mode. Forget long-term goals or thoughtful patience when you're just trying to survive the next 5 minutes, neurologically speaking.
All right, wow. So if most of us are stuck there, we desperately need like an escape hatch, an emergency brake.
We do.
How do we hack our way out? Is that where this let them theory fits?
That's exactly it. Think of it as an on-off switch for that stress response, and it's based on one really fundamental law.
Which is?
You can only control what you think, what you say, and what you do. Period.
That sounds simple, but powerful. How does it work as a switch?
Well, it's about detachment, really. The first step is just acknowledging, let them
Do whatever they're doing.
Let them say what they say, think what they think, do what they do, because you can't control it anyway, right?
Yeah.
So when you consciously say, let them, you're signaling your amygdala, this external thing, not a threat I need to fight or control, you're telling it to stand down.
Okay, so that's the off part of the switch. What's the on part? Getting control back.
That's the second step. This is where you pause, you shift focus inward. It starts with taking a really deliberate, deep breath.
And the breath isn't just about pausing, is it? There's something more going on.
Oh, absolutely. That deep breath is crucial. It stimulates your vagus nerve.
Okay.
Think of the vagus nerve as like a biological brake pedal for your stress response.
Wow.
When you activate it with that slow breath, it sends a direct calming signal straight back to your brain.
So it actively interrupts the stress cycle.
Exactly. It helps shift control back from that panicked amygdala to your rational PFC. You literally reclaim your power in that moment.
Okay, this is making sense. Let's apply it. I actually had this experience recently. Super relatable, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I was on a plane, right, flying to give a big talk, and the guy right behind me, just coughing, loudly, uncovered.
Oh, no, the worst.
Right, so my immediate reaction, total internal chaos, annoyance, worry about getting sick, you know, the drill.
Yeah.
So I did all the things, huffed, glared over my shoulder. Eventually, I turned around and asked him, could you maybe cover your mouth? Ignored me completely. Just kept coughing.
Okay, so classic scenario. You trying to control the uncontrollable. How did that feel?
Awful. More stressed, totally powerless, couldn't focus on my prep work at all, just stewing.
And that's the failure point, isn't it? Not the cough itself, but the attempt to manage his behavior. That's where you lost your power.
Absolutely. The shift only happened when I finally thought, you know what? Let him cough. I just accepted I couldn't stop him.
So you flipped the switch.
I did. And immediately my focus went to, okay, what can I control?
What did you do?
I grabbed my scarf, put it loosely over my nose and mouth, put on my noise-canceling headphones, turned inward.
Hey, problem solved.
Problem solved, or at least my problem was solved. The stress melted away because I focused on what was actually within my control.
And that matches what Dr. Aditi says, this let them theory, this strategic acceptance. She calls it like a sigh of relief for your stressed brain.
A sigh of relief. I like that.
That lets you reclaim your thinking, your energy. It gives your brain permission to finally step out of that constant survival alert.
So, thinking about this for everyone listening, If other people's opinions, their actions, their negativity, if it's all scientifically outside your control,
Which it is.
then why do we spend so much energy trying to manage it? Why let that fear of what they think or do, which just fuels stress and self-rejection, why let that dictate how we live?
Yeah.
Especially when, you've only got this one precious life to actually live. Why waste it fighting battles you literally cannot win? Something to think about.
I really recommend having this book in your hands because rereading certain parts makes all the difference. You'll find a safe link below to get your copy.
Today, we're really digging into two big things that I think take up a lot of headspace for people. Chronic comparison, always looking at others, and also just how hard it can be to build solid friendships as an adult. We've got some great sources talking about this thing called the let them theory, and our mission really is to find a kind of shortcut, turn that frustration into, actual momentum.
Right. And I think, before we even start, we have to accept something kind of fundamental that runs through all this material. Life just isn't fair.
Yeah.
It's not. You see it everywhere, right? Someone inherits amazing health, or maybe their parents paid off their student loans or bought them an apartment. It happens.
Totally. Or just, unfair shifts at work, things like that.
Exactly. And the danger is letting that feeling of unfairness just paralyze you, make you criticize yourself.
Okay, so that's the big hurdle. But let's define the theory itself first. What exactly is this let them theory?
It's pretty simple at its core. It's the practice, the psychological practice of just allowing reality to be what it is. Someone else's success, their choices, their path.
Yeah.
You let it exist without needing to react emotionally or step in.
So releasing control.
Releasing control, exactly.
Yeah.
Letting them be them.
Okay. So let's apply that to comparison. The sources made this really interesting distinction between comparison as torture and comparison as a teacher. The torture part is when you focus on stuff you absolutely cannot change. Fixed things like someone's height or their natural metabolism or, talents they were just born with.
Right.
One source had this cool metric, the 30-second rule. If you can't change it in 30 seconds, it's fixed. Don't torture yourself over it. It just tanks your self-esteem.
Yeah, that upward comparison on fixed things is brutal. But what's fascinating is how that flips. Comparison can become a teacher. When you're jealous of something that can be changed, maybe someone's career path or their financial situation or even just their healthy habits. These are things built over time with effort.
Okay.
In that case, jealousy isn't just negative. The sources say it's like an invitation from your future self.
Yeah.
It's showing you the formula, what's possible.
An invitation. I like that. But what if, someone can have those healthy habits because they don't have massive debt or they work fewer hours? Doesn't that kind of push it back into the unfair or fixed category?
That's a really good point. And it feels blurry, right? But the teacher idea says no. Their success still shows the blueprint. It shows what's achievable. It doesn't mean you have to achieve it on the exact same timeline or under the same conditions. Their win isn't your loss. It just reveals a potential path. It keeps your focus on what you can actually start doing, even if it's small, today.
Right. Focus on what you can control. That actually leads perfectly into the next big topic. Adult relationships, friendships. Because if comparison teaches us where to direct our internal effort, friendship seems to be about where we apply external release. Letting go.
Exactly. Adult friendships get tough partly because of what the sources call the great scattering.
The great scattering.
Yeah. Think about it. Friendship in childhood is kind of like a team sport, right?
Right.
You're all in the same school, same neighborhood. But in adulthood, it becomes more like an individual sport. Everyone's path diverges.
That makes sense.
And whether a friendship thrives or fades often comes down to three sort of invisible pillars: proximity, timing, and energy.
Okay, break those down.
Proximity is just physical closeness. It's huge.
Yeah.
Research actually suggests it takes over 200 hours of interaction to become close friends.
Wow, 200 hours. That sounds kind of impossible for busy adults.
It's a lot. And think about it. You probably spend more time with coworkers between, say, 21 and 60 than maybe even family or old friends combined. Proximity shifts.
Yeah, definitely.
Then there's timing. Are you in the same life chapter? If you're dealing with young kids and your friend is an empty nester traveling, that difference limits connection. It's not personal. It's just timing.
Okay, so proximity, timing, and energy was the third.
Energy, yeah. Do you both have the capacity, the bandwidth for the friendship right now? Sometimes life just drains you.
So with those pillars, how does let them apply? We just accept friendships fading.
Essentially, yes. We have to be flexible, let people drift if the pillars aren't there, let them prioritize new people closer to them, or just not text back sometimes. It's often not about you.
Right. Let them have their reasons, which are probably tied to those pillars collapsing. Don't make it a personal rejection.
Exactly. You release that need to control their side of the equation, which brings us back to what you can control.
Which is?
The me. If let them is about release, let me is about action. The antidote to that post-scattering loneliness is adopting what the sources call the habit of going first.
Going first. How? Like, what does that actually look like?
The sources had some really practical, almost simple steps. It's about putting in the reps consistently.
I'll give you examples.
Be curious. Ask people questions like, what are you rooting? Compliment people. Genuinely help them feel seen. And this one's key. Actively engage with your weak ties.
Weak ties. Like the barista, the neighbor you wave to.
Exactly. The people you see regularly but don't really know. Say hello properly, learn a name. One source mentioned literally putting the barista's name and description, Kevin the tall barista with a beard, into your phone contacts.
That sounds kind of methodical, but I see the point. It's deliberate community building.
It is deliberate. It's putting in the reps. Yeah. Success in anything, friendships, health, career, it doesn't usually come from being special. It comes from being consistent, determined, showing up. That anger or jealousy you feel when you see someone else succeed, often it's actually anger at yourself for not starting your own reps sooner.
Oof, that hits home.
So yeah, it boils down to those two things. Let them helps you release control over everything external.
And let me motivates you to take action on the things you can control. Your own effort, your own outreach.
Precisely. You play the hand you're dealt, starting today.
Okay, so final thought for everyone listening. If comparison really can be a teacher, showing you what's possible, think about something you're jealous of right now. A skill someone has, a relationship they've built. Could that jealousy actually be the clearest message you've ever gotten from your future self? What's the specific formula, the blueprint that person is showing you that you could start working on, maybe even today?
Welcome back. Today, we're doing a deep dive into something I think, well, pretty much everyone struggles with at some point. Why trying to change the people closest to us, you know, your partner, maybe your kids, even friend, why does it almost always seem to fail?
Right. And not just fail, but often make things worse. We've looked at the research, and the goal today is to swap out that cycle of frustration.
Yeah, swap it for something that actually works. A more science-backed way to influence, not force.
And what jumps out right away is just how counterintuitive it is. Even tiny bits of pressure, things we think are helpful.
Like what? Like a sigh?
Exactly. An audible sigh or, you know, a casual suggestion like, maybe you should go for a run. It lands as criticism, as pain, really.
Pain. That sounds strong.
Well, it triggers resistance. A really deep, almost primal resistance. It's not just them being difficult.
Okay, so it's not simple stubbornness. You're saying there's more going on? What is it?
It comes down to control. Agency. Humans have this fundamental, hardwired need to feel like they're in charge of their own lives. Okay. That makes sense. So when I push them to do something,
you're threatening that core need.
Yeah.
You're basically signaling, I don't trust you to manage this, or I know better.
And that turns it into a fight.
Precisely. It stops being about the actual issue, like, say, their health, and it becomes a power struggle. Who's the boss here?
Right. And they have to resist just to feel, safe, in control.
Yeah, to protect their sense of self, their agency, and then you get stuck in this awful standoff. You push harder.
And they dig their heels in even more. Okay, I see that pattern. But if I just stop, if I totally accept them, like, okay, do whatever, doesn't that feel like giving up? Where's the change going to come from then?
That's the key insight, really. The first move is a kind of surrender, but it's strategic. You accept reality. The only person you truly control is you.
So let them be, as you put it, accept where they are right now.
Exactly. That acceptance is what dissolves your side of the power struggle. It takes the pressure off. And paradoxically, that's when real influence becomes possible. Let them opens the door to let me influence. Okay, so the pressure's off. Now what? Is this where modeling comes in, that idea of social contagion?
Yes, precisely. People are incredibly influenced by the behavior of those around them, often without even realizing it.
So if I want, say, my partner to walk more, I stop suggesting it.
You stop suggesting, stop sighing, stop leaving articles around. Instead, you start walking.
And I make it look good.
You make it look easy, maybe even fun. You come back energized, happy. Like that coworker example, she didn't preach, she just did it, enjoyed it.
And eventually the other person sees this enjoyable thing happening.
And the idea to join in or try something similar feels like their own. That's crucial. It has to feel internally generated.
That makes sense for habits. But what about bigger things? Relationship conflicts, more serious issues. Is modeling enough?
Often we need something more structured for those deeper things. That's where this ABC loop technique comes in handy. It's more intentional.
Okay, ABC. What's A?
A is apologize and ask. First, you genuinely apologize for any past pressure or nagging. That disarms them immediately.
Okay, clear the air, then asks.
Then you ask open-ended questions. This is based on motivational interviewing, a really powerful evidence-based technique.
And the key is, I don't give my opinion, right? I just ask.
Exactly. No advice, no solutions. You ask things like, what's important to you about X? Or how do you feel when Y happens?
The goal being
To get them talking, to get them to really hear themselves articulate what they want versus what's actually happening. You want them to feel that internal gap, that tension.
so the motivation comes from their discomfort with that gap, not from my pushing.
Precisely. That internal disconnect is the only sustainable source of motivation. Okay, so that's A. Then we need to think about supporting the right things.
Right, so you stop enabling or accidentally rewarding the negative stuff,
Yeah.
and you actively look for the positive shifts.
Yes, you align your behavior, support the small steps, which leads perfectly into C,
See being.
celebration, or positive reinforcement. This is grounded in neuroscience. When they make an effort, even a tiny one,
You acknowledge it?
immediately and positively. A specific compliment, wow, you handled that really well, or you look great after that workout, or even just a hug. That immediate reward connects the hard work with pleasure in the brain.
It wires them to want to do it again. Make sense?
It builds that intrinsic motivation. They start doing it for the good feeling, not for you.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, the core idea is accept them fully, let them, then use your own actions and thoughtful support to influence. Let me.
Right. It's about creating the space for their motivation to ignite because the change feels like their idea.
Which feels much more respectful and probably more effective long term.
Definitely. And that brings us to the final thought, which can be a bit challenging, especially with really tough situations.
Like addiction or maybe serious financial issues.
Exactly. Sometimes the most supportive thing you can actually do is to let them experience the natural consequences of their actions.
Oof, that's hard. Feels like abandoning them.
It can feel that way, but it's not abandonment if you're still willing to offer support with conditions. It's about not shielding them from reality indefinitely. You can't enable.
Because ultimately, you can't want their recovery or their stability more than they do themselves.
That's the heart of it. Sometimes allowing them to feel the full weight of their choices is the only thing that truly activates that internal drive we've been talking about. It forces them to find their reason to change. And today we're digging into something pretty challenging in relationships, right? Compatibility, personal power, and this framework called the let them theory.
That's right. And it really boils down to, well, radical acceptance, I'd say. It's about letting go of trying to control your partner's actions or, how things turn out for them.
Okay, so acceptance. But how does that square with like real problems?
Well, you have to get brutally honest first. Is this a genuine need that's not being met in the relationship? Or is it more about you just wishing they were different, wanting them to change fundamentally?
Oh, okay. That's a tough distinction.
It is. And the sources really hammer this home.
Yeah.
You kind of have to operate from the assumption that the person you're with, they're probably not going to change. Ever.
Wow. That sets a pretty stark baseline. So if you're feeling that silent resentment, that criticism building up, the idea is to shift towards talking.
Exactly. Productive conversation, hopefully.
Yeah.
But it's structured, not just venting.
Right. And the first step I saw is apologize. That seems tricky. Like, isn't that potentially manipulative if you still secretly want them to change?
It's the key, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's about influencing without the expectation of a specific outcome. So we look at this ABC loop. A is apologize maybe for the tension, the standoff, and then ask open-ended questions.
Okay. Apologize and ask. What's B?
B is crucial. Back off. Step back and just observe their behavior. Because that's the real answer, their actions, not just words or promises.
Got it. Actions speak louder. And C?
C is celebrate any tiny bit of progress and model the change you want to see. Be the change yourself. But here's the kicker. You have to commit to this whole ABC process for at least 3 months, minimum. and crucially with zero negative energy. No sighs, no eye rolls, no disappointment.
3 months. Wow,
Yeah.
that's a serious commitment to just positive influence. Okay, so that brings us to phase 2. What happens when the natural consequences kick in?
Right. So maybe they do hate their job, but just complain. Don't look for a new one. Or the example in the source, the spouse complaining about being winded during pickleball.
Yeah, what do you do then? Your instinct is probably to jump in, right? Fix it or reassure them.
Exactly. But the advice is don't let the complaint just hang there. Let the silence do the heavy lifting. They need to actually feel the discomfort of those consequences.
Just let it sit. That's hard. So, how do you move forward without nagging?
This is where you can borrow from, like motivational interviewing concepts. After that silence, you use open-ended questions. Gently. Things like, it sounds like being that winded really bothers you.
Okay.
Or maybe, is that something you're thinking you might want to do something about? It prompts them to reflect on the gap between what they say they want and what they're actually doing or not doing.
Right. It puts the ball squarely in their court. Okay. But
Yeah.
let's say you do the ABCs, you wait the 3 months, you let the consequences land, you ask the gentle questions, and still nothing changes.
Then the process, painful as it might be, has given you your answer. Their behavior is the answer. And that takes us to D&E.
The final steps.
Step D is decide. You have to decide if this specific issue, assuming it never changes, is a deal breaker for you. Could you live with this exactly as it is forever?
Oof, that's the moment of truth.
It really is. And if the honest answer is no, I can't live with this forever, then their behavior has shown you they aren't willing or maybe not ready to change right now.
Which leads directly to E, I assume.
Yep. Step E,
Yep.
end. Either end your complaining about it, your bitching, your passive aggression, telling friends, or end the relationship. If you choose to stay, you choose them, exactly as they are right now on this issue. Full acceptance.
So it's about reclaiming your own power by making a conscious choice based on reality, not hope.
Precisely. And zooming out, this whole framework helps you sort out true compatibility versus just, commitment or love. You can love someone deeply, but still be fundamentally incompatible.
Like the examples of wanting kids when they don't, or needing to live in different cities for core reasons.
Exactly. It's not about blame. It's about fit. Acknowledging different, maybe opposing core needs or values.
Which connects so clearly to that Gottman research, right? Doctors John and Julie Gottman finding that, 69%?
Yeah, a staggering 69% of relationship problems are essentially unsolvable. They're often tied to personality, ingrained habits. One person's messy, one's always late.
And those often link back to what they called unfulfilled dreams, right? Does staying mean giving up something core to who you are?
That's the question the let them theory forces you to confront. Ultimately, the power shifts back to you. It becomes about let me. What are you going to do? How will you respond?
You control your choices, your energy, what you accept.
That's where your power truly lies.
Okay, so final thought for everyone listening. Given that science suggests almost 70% of conflict might be unresolvable, what's one unchangeable thing about your partner that you are actively, consciously choosing to love today? And maybe more importantly, what amazing thing are you now free to pursue in your own life because you've stopped trying to control that uncontrollable thing in them?
By the way, if you'd like to dive deeper and really make this book part of your journey, I left a safe link below where you can get your physical copy. Having it in your hands makes all the difference. Thank you for staying with us until the end of this chat. And don't forget to check if you've already subscribed to the channel so you won't miss the next session.
I also really appreciate your company. Share in the comments what caught your attention the most, and get ready because in our next meeting, there's another special book waiting for you. See you then.